Alright, so I'm going to do step 1 and 2 in the instructions here. Step 1 and 2, which is mounting the motors on the arms. You can see I've done 3 of these already, and I'll just take you through the final one. It's easy to get the orientation wrong here, at least I did. I got it wrong twice, so hopefully the short video will help you avoid the mistake I made. So the motors mount on these little plates here, and what you've got to notice on the plates is there's a thin rim on one end. You can see that just there's a thin rim on one end, and that will sit on the outside of the arm. What you need to do is you need to mount the motor with the wires at the thin rim end. So look for the thin rim, you want the motor wires at the thin rim end. And then what I do is I'm going to use some thread lock to make sure the nuts don't come out, the screws don't come out. So what I do is I just do this for all my copters, a dry mount a couple of the screws, and what you find is they have little the holes are not completely round, but they're designed to move for different motor patterns. I've got that completely wrong there. They're designed to move for different motor patterns, that's not coming out. I just obviously wedged it in the deep part of the motor. There we go, out. Right. So that's the hole is there, and dry mounting is always a good idea because then you don't get thread lock everywhere, including on your fingers, and it's not the greatest stuff. So if you dry mount it, thin rim at the end, motor wires that end, you can then use thread lock on the remaining nuts. Or in fact you can, sometimes depending on the mounting, I do all 4 and then remove them one at a time and put thread lock on. So just a sort of half a drop of thread lock on there, pop them on here. Screw them up just sort of finger tight, because I'll tighten them all at the end when I'm sure that everything's in the right position. That one. And I'll redo these ones that don't have thread lock on. Sometimes it's easy, I find it easy to forget which ones you put thread lock on. So we start in a place that you know about. And these are 5mm M3 screws that came in the bag. And they fit my little arm mat and Allen key very well. So that's all 4. And then, because there's thread lock, you don't need to do them massively tight, but they need to be tight enough. Obviously this is a plastic mounting plate, so you can't over tighten them or you'll just crush the plastic. So I've done it sort of moderately tight. So, but you know, I'm relying on the thread lock there to stop the nuts moving. That's all the thread lock I need. And so the reason for having the motor wires on the outside here is that then they are going to go down the arm, so you can just feed them down the arm. Like that. And then the other thing that's going down the arm is that we've got a little LED. I assume these are NeoPixel, but we'll find out later. So we've got a little LED that goes on the end of each of the arms, which is quite a neat idea, quite like that. So I'm going to feed the cables for that down as well. So the LED goes on the end. And then the leg goes on the end and it clamps it here. And you'll notice on the leg, again, there is a little narrow rim at one end, and the narrow rim is going on the outside, but the rim is also going to take, there's a little notch in the LED, so that rim is going to take the LED like that, so it slots in there, and then I can pop that on the end. This then slots in the other side, trying to get the motor wires flat. Slots on the other side like that, and then you can put these nylon lock nuts in, and then there's these 20mm M3 screws, so same diameter screws, but the hex, the Allen key opening is different, so it's different size, so I had to use two different Allen keys here, one for the long screws and one for the short ones. Similar sort of idea, it's plastic, so you have to be a little bit careful about over tightening. So I just do all those up. Kind of finger tight. And the final one, which I'm losing. There we go. Final one there. And because it's nylon lock nuts, they won't come apart, so it's really just about getting the right tightness, so it's compressing the leg, holding onto the leg enough, and so that the top part of the arm is on correctly and with the correct orientation. So very easy to over tighten these, I have to say. Crush the plastic, which would be a bad idea, but that seems fairly solid. And there we have it. And I've done the other three arms. So 4 arms with the motors on, and next step is to mount these on the base plate.